What if the reason your marriage feels hard and emotionally distant isn't because your husband is too flawed and won't change, but because the way you are trying to fix him is actually pushing him further away? If you're like most women I work with, you've probably tried talking to your husband about what he needs to change, what he needs to improve or work on, communicate better, or maybe even get help for his issues. You feel like you're being super clear with him and like you're doing everything that you can to express your needs, but it's like he just doesn't listen. Like the message is somehow not getting through. And trying to talk to him about this just escalates into yelling and fighting, and you don't see any real change on his part. And so your relationship feels so frustrating and hard because you don't feel seen, nor are your desires met with love and understanding. Here is the breakthrough that will change everything for your relationship. When you spend all your time focusing on his flaws and what you think he needs to do differently, why he's the problem and needs to change, you are unintentionally creating a dynamic where he feels both criticized and inadequate in your eyes. And so that criticism, even if it's well intentioned, even if it feels like quote unquote the truth, makes him shut down more, not less. And the more you keep trying to communicate your needs by pointing out what he's doing wrong or what his flaws are, what you think he needs to change, the more that you both end up feeling hurt and unloved and emotionally disconnected. Now, here is why this is happening. It happens because of a hidden cycle called the cycle of neglect and disrespect. Here's what it looks like. The more that you tell him what he needs to change and improve, the more that he feels disrespected as a man and shuts down. So you might have noticed he doesn't want to talk to you. He stonewalls, okay? And that's really, really hurtful, right? You feel, lonely and neglected even more. It's like he's not even hearing you or maybe doesn't even care about you, right? And that feels really, really awful. So what do you do next? You either try that again, and what happens? The same hurtful cycle repeats itself. So then you're just like, forget this, and you just sort of quietly check out and decide, I'm not going to share my heart with him anymore. Now, if this is happening in your marriage, you need to realize that this is not a neutral place that you can just stay in, right? You are on your way to a distant and loveless marriage, which of course nobody wants, right? And the consequences of that are kind of dire. Those stakes are really, really high. Okay, so if you are experiencing symptoms like seeing your husband's defensiveness, his anger, emotional distance, I can guarantee that he is feeling hurt and disrespected. And this is the underlying reason for the emotional distance, okay? And the good news is this is something that you can change. And in fact, only you can. And when you do, you will see an immediate shift in the relationship. It will feel like you have a completely new husband by Saturday. So, what should you be doing instead? Two things. Number one, stop commenting on his behavior. Okay, right now you're saying things like, oh my gosh, you spent money on this, or you're just on your phone all the time and like, I can't even get your attention, or seriously, you said that to our son? You see? You either want something or you're afraid of something. But instead of knowing how to share your heart in a way that will just immediately command your husband's attention and have him tune into you emotionally and with love, okay, which is exactly what I teach in the Adored for Life program, you are instead pointing out what you think he is doing wrong. Okay, now this is actually breaking down trust and respect, even if from your perspective, it just feels like, hey, we're just having honest communication. Now, you likely saw him act really defensive when you said something like that, and that makes you think, oh my gosh, he's just so stubborn, he's so uncooperative, he doesn't even listen. Okay, but what's actually happening underneath is that you're breaking trust with him, even though you don't realize it, right? This is the breakthrough I want to share with you because your relationship could literally be so much easier than it is right now. Okay, it's kind of like, if I can make this analogy, it's like you're trying to bake a cake. And of course, like when you set out to bake a cake, you want it to taste really, really yummy. But it's like you don't realize you're putting, ingredients into it that are actually expired and it's not going to turn out well, right? And that's what's going into it. Okay, so This situation can be fixed immediately, right? And you will have a completely different response from your husband. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you need to learn the psychology of intimacy. This is, quite frankly, the only effective approach for repairing married love because it's based on the genuine sexual complementarity between husband and wife, which is really all about how each one makes the other feel loved, right? And because it's different, it's very easy to miss. So the truth is, like, the way that you crave your husband's love is completely different from the way that he craves your love, right? And if you miss this, you will not have intimacy. Because, I mean, quite frankly, you and your husband, you're not just like generic partners, right? Like the mainstream marriage help industry says you are. You are a man and a woman, husband and wife. And so the core desires that you have for each other's love, not only are they different, they're actually designed to fit together, right? Much like sex, where your bodies are actually really different from each other, but designed to fit together, right? And designed to like massively, please each other and enjoy each other. So this sexual complementarity exists in the human heart. Like, so in other words, the difference we see in our bodies is a part of the result of this difference that is also internal, right? And the marriage help industry, oh my gosh, completely misses it, which is why you've probably already tried these standard approaches like couples counseling, psychotherapy, sitting down together with a pastor, maybe trying to talk about your problems. And you have, experience that this doesn't actually help your relationship, right? It hasn't worked for you. Okay, I'm gonna link another video about this here below. So when your marriage is hurting and it feels really, really hard and emotionally distant, what's actually happening underneath is that the deep core desire of your feminine heart to be pursued, to be adored, to be tenderly loved by your husband, right, is not only not fulfilled, but the way that he's currently acting right now is wounding you, right? It's wounding you in that tender spot where you most ache for his love, where you wish he would act differently toward you. I mean, think about it. Isn't that why it hurts so much? It's not like he's just missing your heart's deep desire for love, but that his behaviors are actively wounding it, right? And the reverse is also true. The more you're trying to just share how you feel, right, about what he's doing or not doing, the more like you're not just missing the way your husband needs to feel your love, it's actively wounding him right now in that tender spot, right? And this is why, when you're stuck in this dysfunctional cycle, it is so painful, right? It's so much more than you can even put into words. That is the cycle of neglect and disrespect, right? Where you feel neglected, you tell him he needs to improve, he feels disrespected and shuts down. And it is the number one killer of marital intimacy. So, this is what's actually causing the breakdown in your marriage, not whatever are the particular problems that you see on the surface, right? Like you're arguing about parenting, you're arguing about money or whatever personal issues, your husband has. That's like the tip of an iceberg, right? And there's something much bigger underneath, right? So if you want a different result and experience in your marriage, you need to deal with this larger dysfunctional cycle that's happening underneath. You see, a lot of the time you look at your husband and you think something is wrong with him, You think that like because of his issues, this is why your marriage isn't working. And maybe you see like his childhood upbringing wasn't the best, maybe there are wounds from his childhood or ongoing insecurities or traumas that it just seems like he's not dealing with, or maybe you see he drinks too much and you're convinced that until he deals with that, you're not going to be able to see any change in your marriage, right? Maybe even your therapist suggested that to you, or a friend suggested to you that your husband is a narcissist. So, what are you doing? It's like you're joining Facebook groups on narcissism. You're trying to learn about this. You're trying to secretly diagnose him. Okay. But what you don't realize is the more you are actively putting your focus on, he's a problem, why he's to blame. Okay. And yes, this is a choice, the more that you are actively hurting your relationship. Okay, I know it doesn't seem like that, right? But this is a choice that is against the very nature of intimacy, not creating it, right? You're going in a direction that doesn't serve you or your relationship at all. Okay, it's kind of like saying, hey, like I want to spend a quiet day at the beach. But what you're actually doing is filling up your schedule with all these stressful things and not taking any steps at all toward the beach. Okay, now listen, if you want to grow old together with your husband and feel safe and supported and loved in his arms and laugh and have fun together, like if you want to sit side by side with him at your kid's graduation or wedding and feel like I'm even more in love with him than on the day that we married, you need to stop entertaining thoughts in your head or telling your girlfriend why you think your husband is so terrible. Okay. That needs to end now because that will never take you to the beach. Okay. It just makes you feel stressed out and exhausted and, quite frankly, really sad. Right. And you are not here for that. You are here for intimacy. You are here to be pursued again, adored again, tenderly loved by the man to whom you gave your body and your heart. So, this is why I teach women the psychology of intimacy, the exact practical steps that will take you to the beach, right? So that you can have the real gift of genuine love and emotional intimacy in your marriage, and not just once, but for life, for your whole lifetime. Now, I have personally seen this work miracles for hundreds of women who have come to work with me. And I'm going to tell you the truth, it's really not actually a miracle. It is a proven and predictable outcome once you understand what specific actions create intimacy with a man and which ones crush it. And the reason you don't yet have this deeply intimate relationship that is totally possible for you, right? It's not because you can't, but it's because you're not yet doing the actions that immediately attract his tender love for you with ease, right? And the reason you're not doing them is because A, right now you're still focused on his flaws and what you think he needs to change. And B, you're not entirely sure what those actions are. So, for example, one client of mine, Sarah, she was doing couples counseling and she was on the verge of divorcing her husband because it's like he was just completely checked out. He had anger problems. Okay, she told me she thought he's a narcissist because it just didn't seem like he ever really cared about anything she wanted. But when she stopped insisting that he was the problem and started using what I taught her in the psychology of intimacy, here's what happened. He apologized to her for his own part of the damage. Like he had things he needed to own up to, which he did. Then he went out of his way to make her feel supported, to care for her needs, right? And he became really, really affectionate with her. And actually, every time I see her now, she thanks me for being such a light in her life and that she's so much happier in her marriage. We actually live in the same city. So sometimes I bump into her and her husband. And like, I literally see him. He puts his arm around her, he kisses her tenderly. It's so beautiful, right? It's beautiful. And that's what every woman wants. And you are next. So if you're ready to stop this cycle of emotional distance and actually start having joy, love, emotional intimacy, click the button below and we will reach out to you with the details because you deserve a love that is beautiful, where you get to be cherished and adored for life.